السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. معكم درمان ودحوم من جيم بطولة 7. رجعكم في مقطع جديد والبطولة حقت فورتنا اليوم الثاني. زي ما تشوفون هذا الفريق اللي ابتدي فاز والحين يفوز ان شاء الله. جاء الراوند الثاني.
شلونك؟
تمام. شلونك؟ هذا الراوند الثاني.
Très intéressant. Il dit que c'est les fans amis qui lui donnent beau. Il parlait du low ground qui l'a beaucoup aidé. Ils ont joué 2 parties hier avec, ça les a vachement aidés. Mais aujourd'hui, ils ont peut-être changé de stratégie. So today, what do you expect? Do you expect to do victory royals or more consistently things? You aim?
Yeah, we'll try to win like at least 3 games because we need to try to get like first place today, so we'll try our best.
Marius especially was really picking up momentum towards the end of the day yesterday. Are you feeling hot to go, warmed up and ready?
Yeah, we are so ready.
I think he is. Just look at Vanya's eyes. Let's head back to the desk.
You know, I am even more a fan of Vanya than I already was.
كلهم مركزوا مركين بطولة وكذا.
Whenever you guys want to
sure.
get that, you feel free. Obviously, they're locked in, right? And it's interesting that he says we have to come out and win.
أعوذ بالله.
I like that the ceiling or like the bar is not like, oh, we just need to like be consistent.
دمجته.
We need to do this. We need to no. We need to do what Quincy did and win 3 games. Like consistently, kind of do what you kind of do. Yesterday, it worked very, very well, but you in second place. It's like, nah, we gotta win 3 games. I love the fact that
دمجته.
how can they do that? Do they go?
بس هو وش اسمه
I don't know. I think they do. I think they have to.
داخل بطولة.
They be playing very, very sort of low ground. The play stuff is working very well. We know how good they are at height, right? So,
كيف كذا مدمج؟
there is an opportunity.
أبي أكتر أبي أكتر.
That game count. And I think that's going to be the most crucial thing for them is when Queasy starts
هذا مو
to
سكور
get
ده.
points. Vanya's team, they have to make those. Of course, that was great and all, guys. I also want to talk about the trio third place right now. City, Yapko, Cancer, Benny in third place going into day number 2. Oh my gosh, could I be more excited? Of course, I'm upset there's no NA in the top 3, but in 5 more, you better get 6 games. The trio looking very, very strong right now. I love to see this.
يلا من الثاني من جا واحد. هذا خوي فتي. حجرت.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would have had this team a little bit lower down in their predictions after day number 1 because they look at the drop map, they think, yeah, contested, you know, they're not going to get middle of the pack. Especially with Cami and Seti's history, we sort of know that team is not the greatest on-spawn fighting team. So
يلا نشوف وين.
now, Cami has split with Seti. How are things going to go for them on spawn? And things will be going really, really well for them in terms of day number 1. So I'm really excited to see what they can do now. I mean, you want to talk about
هذا مسوي كذا.
Yapko kind of coming in last, supposed to kind of be that sub player, pick up a top 10 himself, kind of said he's scouting now. That's like, whoa, wait a minute, that looks pretty good. How can you do that? Yeah, picking up a great piece of talent there. Then of course, Panzer to fulfill the trio, working out perfectly right now. Now, guys, of course, there's a little bit of an asterisk, right? These guys are contested. Now, we're to kind of go in the opposite direction. It could spell disaster for the trio. I feel like
هنا.
you know, I'm happy that you kind of talk about them being contested because, you know, me and Benny kind of sat down last night, we're looking at the games, and it's very, very hard for us to catch everything that kind of happens in the other games. There's so much going on. But actually, it turns out, Seti, Yapko, and Panzer were only landed on 3 times by Aztec, Hazi, and Takeover, right? So it's kind of like this weird thing where it's like half the time they're going there, half the time they're not. Are they going to be
كيف
contested?
كذا يا
Are they
أخي؟
not? Yeah, it's tough for them.
دمجت بالسنايب.
right?
Yeah.
They're going in different drop spots. So I think that does prepare Seti's team a little in a way, right? They're prepared for an uncontested and a contested situation, which they've been doing really, really well. But now I think it always begs the question of what is this team going to do now, day two? They've been watching the VODs. They've been looking at what they're doing wrong. So could that throw a spanner in the works of Seti? Will we see that same performance? I certainly hope so, though, because they're doing
نشوف المباراة.
Okay, of course, you pull some examples for us, Vivid. Kind of talking about the trio, maybe how they've rotated, because, you know, we're impressed by this performance.
Yeah, I mean, they've been doing super, super well in the 3 of the games. They did, of course, win every single time it actually ended up happening. But I think the most impressive thing for this trio right now is the fact that they've been able to come up with a strat that actually works, regardless of how the game kind of goes to them, right? They're contested, they do the same thing. They're uncontested, they do the same thing. The Storm is covering Kappa Factory very, very early on. They do the same thing. It just doesn't matter.
Yeah, one of these things that they do is, of course, they find these launch pads, right? These huge launch pads that can send you so far from the sky. They actually place them down. They almost use it as a static launch pad, although it's not there on the map all the time. They find one, they chuck it in the middle of the POI, and then, of course, that gives them not only so much visibility, but also Tinker's team, when they're contested, and one of them might did, as we saw right here, Tinker do himself. Seti was able to then go on out, close that fight out, get all of that storm surge damage so effectively. Need to go down here to
yeah, now the specific strategy that they pretty much do,
هذه بطولة.
Seti is kind of just set off, go ahead and pick up as much loot as he possibly can, right? And he returns to that quote-unquote static launch pad that they kind of throw down in the middle of the POI. He usually will end up dropping all of his loot and then continue to go ahead and pick up more stuff.
Yeah, Panzer does all of the surge damage up on this massive base.
كلهم
Right,
لعيب
we see them
حقيقي.
shooting at Malibu right here. This is a really important role for this trio because Panzer, remember, this is his first time on this stage, so big role for a player of that caliber. We know how good he is to sort of burst onto the scene at the beginning of the year, and is doing very well on LAN as well.
Of course, being the trio with the most storm damage taken as well, right? That's why we kind of talked about it, right? They will make sure that they pick up enough loot from all of the surrounding area, kind of using that launch pad. They don't mind delaying it because, again, they still have that launch pad to kind of flow in or fly into the zones. They stayed in this game, this example, all the way until 4th, right? The launch pad's such an important part of the strategy, and so is just kind of hiding away in the storm.
نزلنا يا رجل. هذا مسوي جدر بناء. مسوي أصغر زون.
So cool, right? They get the launch pad. We should probably save that to the end game, right? Changing up how you utilize that. Look at the advantage Trio's got. Now, of course, we do have a Yapko standing by. Let's hear from him.
I am so glad that Yapko is back representing Europe and doing it in such fashion. Yapko, when you came back from North America and joined up with Panzer and Seti, did you expect your trio to do so well so quickly?
I'm not sure if we're that second trio.
No,
We
no,
have a lot of
yeah.
stuff to learn together about each other.
سمج تخبسين.
We managed to do it before FNCS and doubles. Now we're pretty good trio.
Well, you must have the chemistry
شوفي
because
شوفي.
you're doing incredibly well off spawn at Kappa Factory. What do you think is going so right for you there?
مات.
We're putting a lot of time on
بغيت أنزل عليه وبعطيه.
here. Like in Castles,
Shit.
every night we played Oswans against other pro teams. Ils ont eu beaucoup de choses à travailler quand ils se sont rejoints lorsqu'il est venu en Europe de l'Amérique du Nord.
أعطيه هيد كذا.
Ils ont fait beaucoup d'efforts là-dessus, ils se sont beaucoup entraînés aussi sur leur spawn. Et maintenant, ils sont très très bons.
316.
What does your experience, because you're
بس
used
ما
to
ضبطت.
that, do you think it helps you? I don't think it helps me, I don't think it gives me worse. Like it's just
هذا من فارقه.
it doesn't matter if I'm on LAN, if I'm at home. I feel the same everywhere.
هاي.
So no pressure. No pressure.
Is it fun to also be playing against some of your ex-opponents in North America and even against an ex-teammate in MUDs?
Yeah. I'm not really like thinking about it. I'm just playing it like it's every other final.
So at the end of today, are you going to be lifting that trophy?
Hopefully.
Well, we will
أي
see.
كنا أبطال العالم.
Trying to keep things calm, cool, and collective, right? Calling out, hey, I'm just treating this like every other final. That's a great mindset, right? Because things, again, we continue to talk about it with this type of crowd. Things
هذا
are on
كاس
another
بطولة.
level of pressure. And I love that Yapko, I mean, he's kind of been under this pressure.
أمس فازوا ناس فيه. واليوم هو تقريبا ثمان كؤوس. أمس فاز في
experience is going to be so
Nice.
vital for him in front of a crowd like this on land.
الحين
I know it
يجيني
says
ولا
it's
إيش؟
the same. It's not the same. It's never going to be the same.
I'm like,
It's good to have that mindset,
yeah,
right?
I'm like thinking to myself, that's got to be a lie, right? There's no way he feels the exact same way about that. But I love the fact that he goes ahead and mentions, hey, listen, you know, we're kind of a last-minute trio that kind of formed, right? We kind of tee up what was like, hey, listen, some of these trios, they've been playing together all year. They're going to be so experienced. They're going to be used to playing together. And then a team that kind of forms in the last second, right? Kind of buzzer beater ends up doing this well, man. It's just awesome to see.
To think this is one of these three trios could be our global champions, right? They are fighting right now, tooth and nail. I'm almost curious, right? Is day 2, is this pressure going to be more? Are they feeling the stress of like, okay, everyone is looking at us in the top 3? Is that going to slow them down?
I don't know. You think eyes are really on the top 3, right? I feel like everybody kind of has the same sentiment. All eyes are on first place right now. How do we stop? How do we give ourselves kind of this best chance, which is kind of good when you think about it for Seti's trio. Hey, listen, the race is on, and all eyes on Queasy right now. They got to be feeling good.
Oh man.
لا تنسون اللايك والسبسكرايب والشير والكومنت.
We got Frankie standing by. Why don't we hear from this
الله
crowd
يسعدكم.
right now?
سلام.